Hey everyone, welcome back to Patriot Ridge Farm. So this morning, it's Sunday morning, late morning right now. I've been out here doing a little bit of shovel work in the front corner of the high tunnel here where my hydrant is from my well. When I dug it up previously and everything like that, I of course had some soil left over and I just kind of mounded it up. And I've been shoveling it out, just getting it, filling in some low spots and everything in there. And what I want to show you here is I didn't dig this up today. This was setting in the mound of dirt. And it's just a clump of clay. And the drought that we've had this year, we're every bit of at least 10 inches short of the rainfall that we need to get us out of this drought. And we've had maybe 2 inches of rain since we've been placed in a drought status. But for the most part, that may have been a blessing for us. And it's because when I leveled off the area here, we dozed all this off, leveled it up. Of course, we ended up removing a bunch of topsoil. I tried to save as much as I could, but we filled a lot of this, rolled it over the bank here and everything like that. That way I didn't have like the greenhouse and then a drop off. But it's been so dry that this clay that usually is just so moist and will just flake or chip almost when you till it because of the moisture. And it's so hard to get it to work it, to get it to break down and everything like that. This drought may have done us a favor this year because as hard and as dense as this is, it's flaking very easily because it's so dry right now. And I'm probably only going to till about 3 inches max in this thing when I start tilling. Sorry, you got a little bunch of no-see-ums flying around here. You can see them, but they're... this may have helped me for this year for when I get in there and till that up and throw my amendments in my soil to get my cover crop planted, because it's flaking so easily, and it'll break that down into a more manageable texture and density. So when I was at the Homesteading-ish conference back in August down in Charleston, I was set through a couple classes with the soil scientist down there, and I asked him, I said, the clay on our property is so hard packed. I mean, it's so dense and so hard and heavy. And I said, every time I till it, it just chips or flakes and everything like that. And I said, I just can't, no matter what I do, I can't get it to break down until you get something like this where you're in a drought status. And he told me, he said, you can add biological material to it, like your compost and stuff, which will help. But he said, you need to get gypsum, ground gypsum. And okay. And he said, he showed me the formula. So there's a formula I can get online and use and figure out my square footage and know how much gypsum I need to put in there. And just kind of till that into the soil and it'll help break down that clay. And it doesn't do anything, like detrimental to the clay. It just helps break down those bonds and everything that the clay has with itself and makes it more usable soil. And adding, of course, the biological material, the rabbit pellets and the manure and the compost and stuff like that will also help, because it'll help get those nutrients. So clay is packed full of nutrients, but the problem is accessing it because it's so densely packed. So hopefully this will make a big difference for us. I've been in there, like I said, this morning. I got everything cleaned up out of there. I just need to get the ladder out of there and that empty pallet. And I hope here maybe a little later to get the tiller on the tractor and get in there. I don't know if I'll till today. It'll probably be tomorrow, because tomorrow's a holiday for us. So I want to get in there and get that tilled up, and I'll look and see if I can find the gypsum that I need locally and figure out how much. And I'm probably going to till it about 3 or 4 times. And that way, I get the first layer tilled up. I can come in and add my compost, and I can add my rabbit pellets, and then add the gypsum and get it all tilled, together. And that way I got a better soil quality, better soil texture and everything for my cover crop and for next year when we plant. And I need to build up rows in there. And I'm probably not going to have enough. As a matter of fact, I know I'm not going to have enough compost, on-farm compost, to take in there in the spring and build my rows. So unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to go off-farm to get my compost. And there's a couple local places where I can get it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's bad compost. I can get mushroom compost, and that's probably what I'll go with. And that way, and that comes, I think, from Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. So I can get the mushroom compost and use it, and use it as to build my rows this year. And by that time, I hope to have enough wood chips, set aside in composting for the following year, 2026, where I can just bring it in and use it for my beds and everything. But so I told you guys in one of the videos that I have a little chipper for my tractor, and the more I got to thinking about that, I've got a bunch of trees on an old fence line I need to cut off there, and I want to get it done before, you know, all the leaves come off, because you want those leaves in there as well to get that extra carbon. So I'm going to look at renting a commercial size wood chipper from a local rental agency, equipment company. And if I can find out if it's within a doable price range, I'll go out there and I'll just start knocking trees down that I need to get down anyways. And that'll help me get the chips that I need for the following year, and also firewood for next year as well, because I've got to get these things, I got to get these trees down. And this is pretty much the perfect time of year to do it, because it's not, you're not sweltering, you're not dying out there sweating yourself to death because it's so hot. But I get it before the leaves come off, and that way I can continue to produce my own on-farm compost and everything from the wood chips. And the chickens are molting. It looks like random chickens have exploded pretty much all over the place around here, and our egg production's starting to go down. So we know what time of the year it is, regardless of what the temperature and the leaves will tell you. So, you know, you're getting into that more leaner season, is what the old folks used to call it, because, you know, your animals aren't producing, like, you know, the chickens and stuff, they aren't producing the eggs and everything. But we can continue to work on this, and that way I think we could probably start our seedlings in about the first or second week of January, start them in the house, get them grown, and depending on what the soil temperature is and how the winter goes this year, we could probably start planting in this thing in probably about mid-March, maybe even the beginning of March, depending on what it is. And I can even do low tunnels in there over top of the rows to help, you know, give that added protection and maintain that temperature that I need to get in there. So we'll probably look at even doing that, and maybe even get planted a little sooner if we can. But the idea is to get this thing in full production next year. And of course, you know, as we do it and move forward with everything, there's going to have to be some adjustments, some changes and everything. I still need to get, once I get everything tilled up in there, there's an area around where the hydrant is, there's a T that comes off of that pipe that I'm going to run up. I'm going to dig it up and bring it up to and build a manifold right there, a water manifold, because I'll have to put drip irrigation in this thing next year, and I want to have access to that water otherwise, rather than just blowing it out of the hydrant all the time and leaving that hydrant open because of the pressure on it and everything. And you don't want to, you know, blow out any hoses or anything like that and end up running your well dry, which surprisingly, as much as I've had to water the pigs and the other animals, and as much as I've had to put water in the wallers for the pigs, we're still going strong. Like I said, I've lost a little bit of pressure, volume, but nothing that's got me worried yet. And last night I was out there watering and ended up with a kink in my hose. Couldn't find the kink because I've got 600 feet of hose out through there. I was like, oh man, I'm losing it now. The well's going to go dry, or, you know, it's not going to refill enough in time. And then I found the kink and was like, yeah, dummy. But thankfully it's holding strong, and eventually I'd like to get that ran in the house as our primary water source in the house as well. So that'll be a project for the future. I'm not even worried about digging into that yet. But I got the sides up and the doors open. I closed it up yesterday just to kind of see, you know, what kind of temperature change we would get. And I mean, it was 50 some degrees here this morning, and I walked in there and immediately started sweating. It was so warm and humid in there. So I think it'll do pretty good, and that double layer inflated makes a huge difference as well. Now I'll end this video with this little tidbit. And I know a lot of folks don't, just by history of my channel and everything like that and views on the videos, a lot of people don't seem to take to this type of subject. But Living Traditions Homestead, Kevin and Sarah, who have a YouTube channel, if you watch them, if you don't, I tell you to go over and check them out, because great channel, lots of excellent information on there, seem to be really good people. And I've learned a lot with meat chickens, with greenhouses, with rabbits and stuff like that, and even pigs. I've learned a lot from their channel even before I started this journey, when I was just first getting interested in it. And they're very practical people. They're calm. They don't go off on tangents or rants or anything like that. Just focused right on what they're doing and what the video content's about. And I was flipping through YouTube the other evening and looking at my my subscribe channels, and hey, new video from Living Traditions Homestead. And within the first 20 seconds of the video, they're like, something's coming. And it kind of caught my attention. I was like, what? And they're getting back into rabbits where they had sold off their breeding stock. they're pulling out the rabbit tractors and they're getting back into rabbits because they feel as well that something bad is coming. And whatever that may be, the atmosphere of the political arena that we have going on right now, the upcoming election, everything going on in the world, to hear that channel to come from those two, that they feel that something's coming and they want to be better prepared, man, that struck a chord with me. And I'm like, thank you, because you just validated what I've been feeling. And honestly, 2 weeks ago, I tried 5 times to record a video about this uneasy feeling that I've been having about just in my gut. You don't listen to your brain so much when it comes to things like that, because your brain will take you down rabbit holes and create more doubt and more chaos than anything. But when your gut tells you something, you listen to it. And that struck a chord with me, and I found myself sitting forward, leaning farther in and turning the volume up and listening. And they feel the same way. They feel that there's something coming. Now, whatever it may be, civil unrest with the election coming up, and God, we know that's going to turn into just utter chaos. You can't sit here and say, nothing's going to happen. Because I'm going to tell you something. Regardless of what candidate wins the election, there's going to be chaos following. Civil unrest, you name it, whatever. And just think about our adversaries. China has already said that they look at the United States as an existential threat to their existence. And they're partnering with China, or with Russia. They have been. They're teaming up and doing military drills in the Arctic. China's built their military to exponential freaking sizes and everything like that. They're probably surpassing us in a lot of areas. And, with the Ukraine and Russia and China and North Korea and Israel and Hezbollah and now Iran, it's just a matter of time. And here's another thing that kind of really took my attention a little deeper into this is West Virginia American Water, which is, I think it's the nation's largest municipal water company, water and sewage, is here in West Virginia, down in the southern part of West Virginia. They just had their freaking systems hacked. They didn't release they don't even know what's been done yet. The only thing they released is that they admitted that, yes, their systems had been hacked, and if you end up getting a late fee on your bill, ignore it. I was like, well, there's a plus. I don't have to pay a late fee, but they don't think that there's been any alterations in the chemicals that's used to treat the water or anything like that. But, and we know that China and Russia have hacked and has access to all of our public utilities, public transportation, public utilities, everything. And just look at the poor folks down south from the hurricanes and stuff like that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, 2 weeks without water, without any kind of communication, and only unless they have a radio. There's no phone, there's no internet, there's no cell phone. Elon sent some Starlink down there. They finally started getting some internet service down there. But we've become a society that we're so daggone, such a society of convenience. Everything is now very simple for us. You can order anything that you want to off of your phone. You can watch movies at home just with the click of a button instead of going to a theater. So we've become this nation of convenience. And part of my job, when we enroll people into our program, because we're a rural state and, we have an older population and everything, part of our job is, and part of the program is, emergency management. We discuss emergency management plans and stuff like that with people. Something as simple as if you have a fire, do you have an escape plan? Make sure that you've got your medications refilled in a timely manner. That way you don't run out of medications. Good food stores, non-perishable dry stores, bottled water, water in containers and stuff like that, just to have that stuff on hand. Because West Virginia is known for natural disasters, flooding, snow events, ice events, power outages and stuff like that. And it's just the nature of the area that we live in. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that every patient that I talk to that has emergency plans in place, has food stores, is a prepper, okay, just to put it that way, but they have good stores and stuff like that just in case, is a farmer or was a farmer. And they continue that practice because that's how they grew up, got them through the lean times like we're coming into now with, winter coming and everything like that. Now, it's not so lean now because Walmart sells convenience, so we can just take off and go to Walmart anytime and get what we want or what we need. But if something happens, that place is going to be empty in a day or two at best. And who wants to run in there with a bunch of other yahoos who's scrambling to just take and steal everything that they possibly can? So, you know, the best thing is we're hunkering down right here. This is where, you know, this is where we hold out. And when I talk to the younger patients, they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. They're not interested in it. You know, they'll deliver supplies. You know, the government will come in, FEMA, the military, and all this other stuff. Okay, well, you know, I'm not going to argue with you about it. I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. You know, part of this is that I present it to you and give you some ideas to follow and some good practices to put in place. If you choose not to do that, that's absolutely fine. Just understand, you know, part of my job, part of my documentation. So to hear Kevin and Sarah on Living Traditions Homestead put that out there, it really got my attention, and it validated a lot about what I've been feeling. So, you know, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 months, have those stores aside. They say with, you know, you can get by on 3 weeks, because typically by that time you should have water to you, you should have this, you should have that. At least you would hope so. So 3 weeks, 3 months, even up to a year, that's what I'm going to encourage. It's not hard to do, folks. It's not hard to do. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. Just get your stuff in order. Get yourself prepared, because we know this world's in a mess. Daggone bees. We know things are they're at a tipping point. And I can't tell you what's coming. I know there's a ton of possibilities out there. But if it happens, we're good. I hope you are too. So the decision is completely up to you. Don't think you're going to run to the store. Don't think you're going to go to the Walmart or the Sam's or the Costco's and get everything that you need when it happens, because when it happens, it's too late to try to start to get prepared. I'll leave it at that. I won't harp on it. I encourage you to go over and watch Kevin and Sarah on Living Traditions Homestead. Like I said, fantastic content. But wow, really took me by surprise when that was in the first 20 seconds of their video start. I was like, All right, get and stay prepared. Stay free. God bless y'all.